Welcome back to the Conspiracy Outpost. Join us as we journey through the gritty streets of the 1940s Los Angeles to explore the seedy underbelly of Hollywood and encounter the individuals whose lives became forever entwined with the Black Dahlia, one of the most haunting mysteries in the archives of true crime. Over the course of this podcast, we'll explore the life and the chilling details surrounding this gruesome murder of Elizabeth Short. A crime that continues to captivate and confound investigators and enthusiasts alike. So grab your spouse and listen to this auditory murder porn about the woman known as the Black Dahlia. I'm your host, Casey.
I'm Mike.
And I'm the Joe Worm. Like glowworm? I don't know. I really should have planned that ahead.
All right. On to the life of Miss Elizabeth Short. So before we get to her death and all that stuff, let's get a little prelude to her life. So she was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Am I saying that weird? I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, why I want to put an S in there before the T's. Massachusetts.
Whatever. She was the third oldest of five sisters. Her father, Cleo Alvin, he was a U.S. Navy sailor, and her mom, Phoebe May, was your typical 40s housewife. Short's father, well, I guess this was in the 20s, but Short's father, he started building mini courses, and he ended up losing his life savings in the 1929 stock market crash. And in the 1930s, his car was found abandoned on the Charlestown Bridge, and it was assumed that he jumped into the Charles River. And so he was presumed dead. And then by the age of 15, Miss Elizabeth Short underwent lung surgery because she was troubled with bronchitis and severe asthma attacks. And then after her surgery, the doctors told her to relocate to some milder climate to prevent further breathing problems. Yeah, I know to prevent further breathing problems. And so in the winter, her mom would send her to some family friends out in Miami, Florida for the next 3 years.
That's I didn't know that they did surgery on bronchitis like that.
Oh, they probably did it back in the day.
Before, here's some breathing treatments and some fucking whatever. They're like, we're just gonna rip you open and fucking flick your lungs and see see where we go from there.
It was almost the same treatment that what the hell were we just talking about in our last 3?
Oh, tuberculosis.
Mesothelioma.
God, dude, fucking TB. I cannot say the word. There's something wrong with me.
Tuberculosis. Yeah, it's like going to some milder condition, like air conditions, and you'll be good.
So we almost nailed the mark there. This was episode 4 of talking about it. Last episode, we heard that thrilling tale of.
How many episodes are left of the? That we got left of the spooky stuff for October?
Is the next one the last one?
I'd have to look real quick. Give me one minute.
We have the Demon Gate next week, right?
Joseph, why I looked this up, tell us about her California times.
All right, so to California we go. In late 1942, Short's mother received a letter of apology from her presumed to be dead husband that revealed he was alive and started a new life in California. That shit is fucking hilarious to me, by the way, because he fucking staged his death. Did he walk somewhere, or did someone pick him up? And they're just like,
he probably hitched a ride.
Yeah, probably. It's just hilarious though, that nobody looked for his dead body.
Walked to a bus or train station.
Nobody looked for his fucking body. Like, yeah, he probably jumped in. It's like, I would too. Want to build mini golf courses in this economy? Was that what it was? Okay, so In December, at the age of 18, Short relocated to Vallejo, California, to live with her father, who she hasn't seen since the age of 6. Her father at the time was working at a nearby Mare Island Naval Shipyard on San Francisco Bay. Is that Mare? Yeah. And arguments between Short and her father led her to move out in January 1943. Same year, my grandma was getting railed out by some sailor gentlemen. Just kidding.
Really?
Nah, and I probably. She ended up taking a job at the base exchange at Camp Cook near Lompoc. Longpoke. Living with the Lompoc. Tupac, living with the U.S. Air Force sergeant who reportedly abused her. She ended up leaving Tupac in mid-1943 and moved to Santa Barbara. Not Tupac the person, Tupac the place that I just made up here. Yeah, Santa Barbara. Sorry, I'm losing my place there. Which is where she was. Okay, so she left Lompoc in mid-1943 and moved to Santa Barbara, which is where she was first arrested for underage drinking. That's when the juvenile authorities sent her back to Massachusetts. But
how old was she? Under
18.
18.
I thought that was legal then.
Sexual wise, yes.
No, I thought you were allowed to drink when you were 18.
Oh, back then? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Well, maybe not in California. I don't know.
Fucking California.
Fucking
Oh, yeah, I think Reagan changed that when he was governor. Something like that. I don't know.
It's because people used to get drunk and made fun of the way he talked.
What I don't get about it, though, is why was the juvenile court involved, though? Because she was still an adult, regardless if she was underage drinking. And I don't see how they would have the power to send her back to another state.
Yeah, that's weird, especially back then, because you're considered adult at like 10. No, I'm just playing. Just kidding. Oh, yeah, so they sent her back to Massachusetts, but she instead went back to Florida and made occasional trips back home. In Florida, Short met Cager. Is that Cager, or is it supposed to be Cager?
Kaiju. No.
The Kaiju.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's supposed to be Major.
Okay, that's what I thought. Major Matthew Michael Gordon. That is a comic book name if I've ever heard one. He was a decorated Army Air Force officer of the 2nd Air Commando Group who was training for deployment to Southeast Asia and written a letter to propose marriage while he was recovering from plane crash in India. And Short accepted his offer. She's like, yes, I'll marry you. Oh, golly gee, once I come back from this plane crash, we're going to wed, we're going to have children, and we're going to have a dog and a picket fence. But they were never married because Gordon died in a second crash on August 10th, 1945. Hey, I got in a plane crash. Please marry me, Short. Oh, yes. Yes, Major, I'll marry you. As soon as I get home, God let me live from that first crash so I could gaze upon your face one more time, Short. And then he missed Short, and then he dies in another plane crash. God's like,
died on my birthday, too. But, not my year.
Yeah, no, yeah. Damn. That's crazy. Maybe you're the reincarnation of this guy. Don't get in any planes again. In July 1946, Short relocated again to Los Angeles. It was at that point that she spent the last remainder of her life there. Before her death, she was working as a waitress and rented a room behind the Florentine Constantine Gardens nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard. She's been described as an aspiring actress, but has no known acting credits. Sorry, that was really hard for me to read without my glass. I got to move this shit fucking closer.
Why don't you just put your glasses on?
I broke them, but
you idiot.
I had the frames. I just don't have the money to fucking whatever. It was. I got
you got tape, right? Tape them to your eyebrows. Let's let the glass hang.
I got too drunk at Wesley and Angelina's, and I fucking got hella drunk, fucked up my eye somehow, punched the shit out of my car. So I assumed I did it on my car. I didn't leave a dent.
Your car.
I think I hit my eye on it. That's why I got pissed because my whole eye was fucking black around,
Nice.
and then I was looking for my glasses. Got mad, left. Tried to call Matthew, then fucking came back. Tried to look for my glasses. Then I heard a crunch noise, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Classic Velma.
Cried and then went to sleep. I think I hung out with Wesley and Steven for a little bit longer. But yeah, so I've been blind for fucking 2 weeks now. All right. Did you want me to read? Oh, never mind.
So then she, when she relocated to LA again, little did she know that this would be the last 6 months of her life. On January 9th, 1947, Short was returning from a trip from San Diego with Robert Red Manley. He was a 25-year-old salesman that she's been dating. Manley stated that he dropped off Short at the Baltimore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles and that Short was to meet her sister that was visiting from Boston later that afternoon. The staff of the Baltimore recalled seeing Short using the lobby phone, and shortly after she was seen at the Crown Grill Cocktail Lounge at 754 South Olive Street, approximately 3/8 of a mile away from the Baltimore Hotel.
I just want to say that name sounds so fucking made up. Robert Red Manley. And you guarantee 100% that this motherfucker used his last name and shit all the time. Well, I am Manly. And also, where does the fucking nickname Red come from for Robert? Is Red a nickname for Robert?
I don't know.
Maybe his middle name, or maybe he was
a ginger.
always just, yeah. I don't know.
Redley.
Maybe he just had a redneck. Who knows?
There was something.
He's a hardworking man.
Some of the names in this is so fucking wacky. Her dad, right away, you know, he was a dirtbag. His name was fucking Cleo. Probably got mad all the fucking time. People make fun of him. It's like, no, it's short for Cleonardo. Like, it's like,
It's
you know,
funny, his wife told him not to open up the mini golf course. Like, no, it's not a good idea.
No, God damn it, I have to follow my dream.
And then after he went bankrupt, he's like, well, this is a bad out.
Well, I can't face my family, not as Cleo. With a mini golf, not Cleo's golf course. Not Mr. Cleo's putt. I can't face him. Better relocate and start again with a new family. Who does it? It's like, I can't go and face my family anymore.
Time to get a new one.
Yeah, I don't even know. Did he get a new family or not? It's just funny he abandoned his family just because he's like,
back then it was easy.
Yeah.
You ask Cal, you literally just go to the next town.
He's all talking to his friend at a bar.
That's how you do it.
I don't know how to face him, Robert. I don't know. It seems the only logical thing is to run out on him. Yeah, skip town. Hit the old dusty trail.
That was also the same way you got away with murder. Is you just go to the next town.
And that's what I was reading. That's
what the Velisca axe murder did. He just hopped on the train and
the motherfucker just hopped on, fucking thumbs up. It's like, no, just kidding. Yeah, just hopped on the train. They said in one of the videos I was watching about it was who was it, the forensic person at the time or whatever it was, or no, not at the time. I don't remember. Somebody fucking said that if that happened in modern time, that it would have been solved just like that.
Yeah,
like it wouldn't have been
DNA, man.
So fucking because they couldn't pick up anything from it. I don't want to fucking.
Dude, detectives back in the day, they had they go off of so much just intuition.
Yeah, it's just like they were just smart motherfuckers. I find some of the fucking evidence shit so fucking funny though, with some of the shit.
You know, the great detective novels of the day, there's a reason they're all, back in time. Like Sherlock nowadays.
But who must have done it? The trajectory of the bullet came from this area, and then they must have ran this way, and It was a manager of the store. What? Nah, I picked it up on Google Earth. Yeah, just so happens they rolled through right as the shooting was going down. And it seems like they sped up because about 0.5 miles up the road, it's all blurry with their camera. So they definitely seen it. It's just I seen that on the Google Earth thing. They found somebody went missing or some shit, and they seen something. Somebody found it on Google fucking Earth. Something in the water looked funny, and they fucking pulled it out. I don't remember if somebody died.
Like a car or something.
Yeah, it was a fucking car. They were. I think it might have been a missing person thing. They found them. They fucking ran into this water and fucking drowned or some shit. Or it was a car that was stolen. I don't remember. I like to think. I don't like to think, but I feel my gut's telling me someone drowned to death. That'd have made a good detective back then. Nah,
there's just so many like serial killers and stuff that would have been caught like so fucking fast because of DNA back in the day.
Oh yeah,
like leaving semen and spit and all sorts of shit behind.
Fucking taking a shit in the toilet before they leave. Nah, look at these skid marks. It's somebody who doesn't have a healthy bowel movement. They must have been intoxicated while it happened. Well, how do you know that? No, they were intoxicated before it happened. See that? That's clearly a beer shit. Smell it. Give it a waft. Give it a waft. That's Uncle Chang's down the road. They were clearly drunk, ate it, came here last night, murdered them, took a nap in that chair. See? It's like a fucking empty fucking Chinese container. If only we had a way to line up the saliva with the person. And sadly, all we have is this beer shit in the toilet. And it's getting us nowhere. They could have been a regular at the dive bar.
God damn.
So into Miss Elizabeth Short's death. So it happened in, how do you say it? Lemerritt? How am I call it that? Lemerritt Park neighborhood in Los Angeles. She died at the age of 22 on January 15th, 1947, and she was discovered by a mother taking her child for a walk on a leash in a Los Angeles neighborhood and stumbled upon a gruesome sight. The body was just a few feet from the sidewalk and posed in such a way that the mother reportedly thought it was a mannequin at first glance. Her naked body was found severed in two pieces and found in a vacant lot on the west side of South Norton Avenue, midway between Coliseum Street and the West 39th Street. And at the time, Lemerritt Park was really underdeveloped. And
wasn't then, like the woman who found the body like also with her kid?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was taking her kid for a walk. And then I made that joke on a leash.
I heard, because I heard she fucking used like a fucking neighbor's phone or something, or not like a nearby person's phone at their house.
Yeah, or whatever. That's what you would have to do. You'd have to run to someone's house with a payphone.
Let me hit the little dial button.
You ever used one of those?
No, my boss tells me that when she was a kid, that's what they used to use.
I've used one.
I have people that fucking tell me it's like back in our day we used to have corded phones. It's like me too, you fucking piece of shit.
It's like how old do you think I am?
Yeah, that's what I always I have to fucking tell people. It's just like people that are like look at people that are like in their 40s now. It's like, yeah, so you're around in the 1960s, and it's like, what the fuck?
Like no,
like so you guys, fuck. What was it? She did that, and then she fucking just went about her business, like ran all of her fucking errands, and just continued on with her day. That's hilarious. Because she wasn't.
Funny is when people try to talk to me about payphones. It's like I've used payphones. I didn't have a cell phone when I was in middle school. When I needed to go home, I went to the 7-Eleven, used the payphone, and be like, "I'll be home after dark."
Yeah, that's what my parents used to fucking. Oh, every time I walked past a payphone, my dad would stick his finger in the fucking chain thing. Yeah, in the chains thing to see if there's any fucking coins in there. He would always do that. And then I used to try to copy him. My mom would flip out. You know what? She fucking turned me into a fucking germaphobe thinking about that. Because I would I'd go to stick my hand in there, me and like all my siblings and shit, me and Matthew and shit. And she would fucking freak out. It's like, don't do that. People shove syringes in there. And it's like, whoa. And then it's like thinking about that. There's no fucking way people are shoving syringes in there. Maybe once or twice. Yeah. That's like a fucking hard, small percentage. So I'm going to go ahead and blame her for my germophobia, my fucking
But yeah, like I watched a movie recently. It was forgot what exactly it's called. It's new on Prime. It's like about this serial killer and there's like time travel and stuff. It's brand new, just came out on Amazon. It's not a bad movie, but like this girl like travels back to the 80s, and like half that movie is just stupid fucking jokes about how she's to the bullying and
the one where her mom and her friends are at a fucking yeah. I wanted to actually watch that. It looked like it might be like an entertaining movie, not like
but like
greatest.
There's a part where she's in PE and she in the 80s and she plays dodgeball. She's like, this is barbaric. It's like, what the fuck? Did they not play dodgeball now?
Yeah, we used to fucking play dodgeball. I mean, it's never like the
not only that, but we played dodgeball the most chaotic way at our high school. You split to 4, not 2. Chaos, man. It was fun.
I know we used to play dodgeball.
One of my coworkers, I don't remember what he said, but he said something about he's like, oh, back in my day that he said something, and I was like, you were not that much older. I was like, you were 10 years older than me. I was like, I was around with all that shit. I was like, I had dial-up too, man. I had dial-up.
Yep.
I had a coworker. She quit because she's when I was a freshman, she would have been a junior in high school, and she talks to me like we are 10 years apart. I think that's what it is. Because she just turned 35 and I'm 32, 3 years apart. So no, she would have been a senior. But it's like it's not that big of a.
Our age group is kind of like on the brink of stuff. We're like right when shit changed,
Yeah,
like my younger sisters don't remember the shit that I do. They haven't used payphones. Payphones are already gone, and like. I'm pretty sure they played dodgeball though.
Oh yeah, and see that's the crazy thing too, because back fucking in Orville, you can the last time. I mean, this is when I was still living there, but you'd see like 1 or 2 of the payphone booths, but not the phone in it.
Well, Obama had them ripped out.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah, I just seen. I mean, they were just sitting there doing nothing, but the phones were fucking like.
Yeah, when Obama signed it in that like everybody should have a cell phone or something like that, they got rid of the payphones the same time.
They still give away fucking free phones. It makes sense though, because I mean, to a degree, because it's like how many homeless people are gonna fucking rush to charge a phone. But I mean, they have fucking shit for even poor people to have like. For people that need like internet for jobs and everything, like cheap programs like Comcast.
I will say this: when your phone's dead, like your cell phone, it was a lot easier to ask someone for 50 cents than it was to ask someone to use their phone.
To use their phone. Yeah, I won't let anybody, especially nowadays. I'll let them use the store phone, and if the store phone doesn't work, I tell them my phone isn't in service. But that's because people can easily. Especially fucking tweakers. They can easily fucking rush off with your phone. And nowadays, fucking everybody's shit is on their fucking phone. It's like people got their cards hooked up to it. They got their fucking whatever.
But back to Miss Elizabeth Short.
Yep.
As I was saying, her body was severed in 2 from the waist and drained of blood, leaving her body pale white. Examiners determined that she had been dead for 10 hours prior to discovery, making her death to be either in the evening of January 14th or the early morning hours of the January 15th. The body was washed by the killer. Her face had been slashed from the corners of her mouth to her ears, known as the Glasgow.
It's Glasgow or Glasgow. The guy from Sons of Anarchy. I was curious about that.
Yeah, Tommy Flanagan.
Yeah, he really has those. It's not like makeup. He actually got cut up in a bar. He got that in a bar, and
he was outside of a bar that he was actually DJing.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew it was something about a bar, and somebody did that shit to his face. They carved the fucking smile in it. Before I knew the actual term for it, I just called it a permanent smiley, because Tang showed me this Korean movie, I believe. This guy kills the dude's wife, and the dude's a cop. I think it was his wife or his girlfriend or some shit. So he fucking hunts the dude down because I think he can't get proof that the guy killed his wife, chips him, and then just continuously follows him and tortures the fuck out of him every time he tries to like because he murders people and everything, murders women and stuff. And he beats his ass, I think, at one point. I'm getting some of the details wrong, but beats his ass, puts him in the hospital, and he goes in there. It's like, you want to smile, whatever. It's like, I'll give you a permanent smiley. And he grabs his mouth, like his jaw, and he fucking pulls it apart and starts ripping his mouth. But he said permanent smiley. So I've called it for years a permanent smiley because I didn't know there was an actual term for it. And the funny thing is,
Joker smile.
The Joker, yeah. That actor, though, isn't he from Glasgow or some shit? Or Glasgow? So. Yeah, so that's just the irony in that he got it and he's from Glasgow. So, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought that's the only person that I know that has that, except for that rapper Mercules. He looks like he has it on one side of his face.
There's a guy, I don't know what it is, but I think it's in Wolf of Wall Street. The white guy, he has like a weird smile. I don't think they're cut. I think he was born with it, but like it looks like he has like a small, like it's only goes up to like maybe right here, and it's like you have to look at it because I was looking at it. I was like, did he have like surgery on his mouth or something? I was like, what the hell's going on right there?
I haven't watched that movie in so fucking long.
Yeah, it's also known as a Chelsea grin.
Oh, is that the
Chelsea smile?
Oh, okay. It's also known as that shit that the Black Dahlia got.
Okay, so I looked it up. 1 second. Glasgow smile, also known as a Chelsea smile or Glasgow smiley, Huyton, Huyton, a $1.50 or a Cheshire grin, is a wound caused by making cuts from the corners of the victim's mouth up to the ears, leaving a scar in the shape of a smile.
I like that. The Cheshire grin. That's a cool name for it.
Well, I like Chelsea grin because that's a band.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Did they choose that name or did they name that off of something? Did they name it because of the name?
Probably because of this. Yeah.
Okay, that would make sense.
Oh, it's said to have originated in Glasgow, Scotland, in the 1920s and 30s.
Yeah, see, that's why I figured it got its origin from then, or at least the first time they started coining a term for it, or famously coined the term for it. I just thought that the irony in that the dude's from Glasgow and he fucking gets one there. Or I don't know if he got it in Glasgow, but I mean, he's from it. It's just fucking.
Damn, I haven't listened to Chelsea Grin in a long time.
So, Elizabeth Short, Short, right? That's her right name. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like I got the name wrong. I thought I was talking about somebody else for a second. So she had several cuts on her thighs and breasts. There were entire portions of flesh that had been sliced away. The lower half of her body was positioned a foot away from her upper half of her body. The intestines had been neatly beneath her butt, like tucked beneath her butt, and the corpse had been posed with her hands over her head and her elbows bent at right angles and her legs spread apart.
Didn't they say there was like chunks out of her too, or no?
Yeah, there was chunks of flesh. I sent you guys all pictures of the scene.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean, I remember looking at it. The first time I ever fucking.
I should have put NSFW before I sent them, but.
Oh, I don't.
Really, in our group chat, really?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Was at work, weren't you?
Yeah, but I was in a walk-in hauling food and back and forth between cruises. I was by myself.
The group chat is called Conspiracy Outpost. It's like I do a conspiracy podcast.
And honestly, my boss knows that I have a fake Facebook where I talk about being molested by my uncle. She was like, "You need one of my fucking ex-coworkers read her one of my fucking statuses in it, and she's like, looked at me and it's like, you need therapy."
This is my therapy.
This is my religion. Yeah, no, I mean, he was like, you should have sent the not safe for work thing, but also we were just going back and forth with cryptid porn sites, like prior to the Black Dahlia. So,
dude, I think it's fucking
true.
Wild that someone did that. That's nuts.
Yeah,
just looking at the pictures.
It's gruesome.
Yeah.
So this Los Angeles Herald Express reporter, Aggie Underwood, was among the first to arrive on the scene. She took several photos of the corpse that I've sent you guys. I don't know if those are her photos personally, but I'm sure they're chalks up to be almost the same thing. But she took pictures of the corpse in the crime scene, and near the body, detectives located a heel print on the ground amid the tire tracks, and a cement sack containing watery blood was also found nearby.
Watery blood? So, like, pretty much what they probably did was wash the body off before they brought it over there.
Yeah. The body... Okay, so I'll get into the autopsy right now, because it'll tell you about all that stuff right here, somewhere in here. So... An autopsy was performed on January 16th, 1947 by Frederick Newbar. The report stated that Short was 5'5", weighed 115 pounds. She had light blue eyes, brown hair, and badly decaying teeth. There were ligature marks on her ankles, wrist, and neck, an irregular laceration. Yeah. There was irregular lacerations with superficial tissue lost on her right breast. He noticed superficial lacerations on her right forearm, upper arm, and lower left side of the chest. The body was cut in half using a 1930s technique taught in the 1930s, obviously, called a hemocoropathy. Sorry, I can't say fancy medical terms, but this is a radical surgery in which the body below the waist is amputated, transecting the lumbar spine. This removes the legs, the genitalia, internal and external uterine systems, pelvic bones, anus, and rectum.
Yeah, they were fucking so good at it. Didn't they not fuck up the spine hella when they cut him in half?
Yeah, that's
there's theories that this was done by like a doctor.
Yeah, and that's actually the guy, which I'm sure Casey has down. That's who I fucking... Dude. It was 100% because
that's how I got my money on.
With the ligature marks and the random cuts and random patches of skin removed. Was she tortured?
There's
They said from what I seen, they said that the Glasgow smile was for sure done while she was like alive still.
And the patch of skin removed from her right breast and various cuts on her forearms and legs.
So the report noted that there was bruising along the incision line, suggesting it was performed after death. So she was separated after death. There was another gaping laceration measuring 4 foot and a quarter, or 4 1/4 inches. Sorry, not 4 foot. 4 1/4 inches running from the belly button to the pubic bone. Lacerations on each side of the face extended from the corners of her lips, measuring 3 inches on the right side of the face and 2.5 on the left. The skull was not fractured, but there was bruising noted around the front and right side of the scalp, with small amounts of bleeding on the right side, consistent with a blow to the head. Cause of death was determined to be hemorrhaging from lacerations on her face and the shock from the blows to her head and face. It was also noted that Short's anal canal was dilated 1 3/4 inches, suggesting that she may have been raped, but there was no presence of semen.
God damn.
She was raped with a carrot. Just like the fucking last podcast, we got to keep it on the carrot thing.
What's it called? Before Emily Short was identified as the dead body, her fingerprints were sent to the FBI and got a hit from her arrest in 1943. Immediately following Short's identifications, reporters from William Rudolph's Hearst Los Angeles Examiner contacted her mother, Phoebe Short, in Boston and told her that her daughter had won a beauty contest. It was only after prying as much personal information as they could from Phoebe that the reporters revealed that her daughter had been in fact murdered.
That is such a grimy fucking way to do it. She won a beauty contest. Oh, I knew she did, with her beautiful eyes, her beautiful hair, her fucked up bottom teeth. Well, gotcha, bitch. She's dead. Sorry, we just had to make sure we nailed it. Fooled you, didn't we? Anyways, April Fools, come Come ID the body.
The Examiner also offered to pay Phoebe's airfare and accommodations if she would travel to Los Angeles to help police with the investigation. That was yet another ploy, since a newspaper kept her away from police and other reporters to protect its scoop.
That is so grimy. Oh, it was okay. You said it was reporters.
The Examiner is the name of the newspaper.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a fucking medical examiner. Dude, that's fucked up. I would have fucking murdered somebody. I would have chopped them up from their pelvic bone.
So the Examiner and another newspaper called the Herald Express later sensationalized the case, with one Examiner article describing the black tailored suit Short was last seen wearing as a tight-skinned and sheer blouse. The media nicknamed her the Black Dahlia and described her as an adventuress who prowled the Hollywood Boulevard. Additional newspaper reports, such as the one published in the Los Angeles Times on January 17, deemed the murder a sex fiend slaying. Which none of these accusations even held ground, because there was no proof that she was a harlot in the night.
No, that's what I was. One of the things I seen was she had her. She had like a. What was it, like an address book or something? I don't remember, but they got a hold of like 75 different fucking dudes she went out on dates with, all who said the night didn't really know her. They had like one date with her and the night never ended in sex. They could just be covering their asses, but it was 75 different fucking guys. I like to think a couple were women. I don't think they specified. I'm just kidding. But yeah,
I mean, she's trying to become an actress, just possibly just meeting up with people in the industry.
That's it. Yeah, just trying to fucking, I mean, probably. I don't know if you had that written down, Keith. I don't mean to jump around. I was trying to, but yeah, it was.
It's written down somewhere in there.
Oh, is it? Okay, my bad. I didn't mean to jump around. I do that. I'll fucking say something. You already have in an order that sounds better than the shit I spur off.
On January 21st, 1947, a person claiming to be Short's killer placed a phone call to the office of James Richardson, the editor of the Examiner, congratulating Richardson on the newspaper coverage of the case, and he stated he planned on eventually turning himself in, but not before allowing the police to pursue him further. Additionally, he called and told Richardson to expect some souvenir of Beth Short in the mail, which is one of her sisters.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was looking at was fucking with that, it was like it seemed like they're trying to throw the trail off of somebody else or whatever, which is hilarious. Like it was in the most obvious fucking fashion. Like I think they had a suspect at the time and it made it line up like this, the suspect was whatever, but then he had like an alibi. So I don't fucking remember. It's just hilarious. So that shit came in at that time.
And then what date was that on? So just 3 days later, on January 24th, a suspicious manila envelope was discovered addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles newspapers with individual words that had been cut and pasted from newspaper clippings. God damn, man, I can't talk. Additionally, a large message on the face of the envelope read, "Here is the Dahlia's belongings," with the following letter. The envelope contained, with a belongings letter to follow. So the envelope contained Short's birth certificate, business card, photographs, names written on pieces of paper, an address book with the name Mark Hansen embossed on the cover.
I got that wrong. They suspected the Mark. I flipped that. They suspected him, and then they lost interest because it seemed like whoever did it was trying to pin it on him because they coincidentally sent the shit, and it had like the Mark Hansen thing, like they were trying to pin it on the guy or some shit. I flipped that. It wasn't trying to take attention off of. Well, I was trying to take attention off of that guy, but they shifted. They're trying to shift the attention to someone they already thought it was gonna be or some shit.
The packet had been carefully cleaned with gasoline similar to Short's body, which led police to suspect that the packet had been sent directly by her killer. Despite efforts to clean the packet, several partial fingerprints were lifted from the envelope and sent to FBI for testing. However, the prints were compromised in transit and cannot be properly analyzed. That same day, the packet was received by the examiner. A handbag with a black suede shoe was reported to have been seen on top of a garbage can in an alley a short distance from Norton Avenue, 2 miles away from the crime scene. The items were recovered by police, but they had also been wiped clean with gasoline, destroying any fingerprints.
God damn. Solvents, man, am I right?
He left prints on here. What should we do? God damn it, I don't know.
I didn't know gas cleaned off fingerprints like that. So now,
I didn't either.
Why wouldn't it? Fingerprints are a leftover oil residue from your finger, and gasoline's a solvent.
Do you know what they said when I was on a travel crew and I was working for Have Lights a few years ago? So one of the trucks got broken into, and then we had to have the police come out there, and they had to dust for fingerprints and whatnot. And I was like, oh, dude. I was like, do you need to? I was like, because everyone's been touching the doors and stuff, and like opening the handles. And they're like, oh, we can't pull fingerprints off of the doors or anything. They're like, only if they touch the plastics inside the car, then we can grab them from there. They're like, otherwise it just wipes off, and they're not usable. And I was like, oh, so in the movies when they're wiping off the steering wheel and stuff, that's all pointless. Like, yeah, you can't get fingerprints from any of that stuff.
That's hilarious. I was just thinking the cops here in this town are like cops back in the day, because it's like somebody will like rob a store and do this shit, and the cops will come in and look at the footage and like, I'm gonna be real with you, we're never gonna catch this guy. Like, I mean, they've
just like, well, not with that attitude, you won't.
It's like he's probably long gone in a different town. There's nothing we can
like.
It's funny. I mean,
you jump very seriously, don't you? They're like, no.
It'll be like fucking like I got ripped off like $300 by a guy. I was like half awake, and he bought tickets, and I was supposed to drop the hundreds. And if I was paying attention and wide awake, I would have known that one of the fucking $100 bills was bluish. And this guy, the other ones looked more real, but not this one. But I was so fucking out of it, I wasn't fucking paying attention. I just started the graveyard things. I wasn't fucking sleeping, slamming down locos to sleep during the day. It was a rough fucking whatever. After that, I started slamming down like fucking 3 rock stars a night. But anyways, this guy fucking, he fucking got like $300 worth of tickets from me. The cops come. The guy like had a hat on, and because of like the top view of the fucking cameras, you can barely make out his face. So it's like, yeah, we're probably not going to catch him. He's probably already in a town over. This motherfucker tried to pull it out the other store later that night, and they said they can't accept large bills like that. And the guy flipped out and went to Pilot, supposedly. But they had, I think theirs has like a machine you put money into or some shit. But yeah, it's just fucking, but it's not the first time. Fuck, I can't remember. Something else happened too, and the cops said the same fucking shit. And it's just like, I'm gonna be honest, we're not gonna catch him. It's like,
that's terrible, man.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like there's, which I guess realistically, because that road is the road people take in and out of fucking town. So it's just like, stop, rip someone off, keep going. I mean, luckily the guy who hit our store, the one that was robbing places from Chico, a bunch of towns, they hit Chico, then they hit my store. I was on paternity leave at the time, but he got like one of my old coworkers, and a guy only took the big bills or whatever, and he was being a dick on purpose and slowly counting them to him or giving them to him, just being an ass. Because he said the dude had a gun, but he wasn't pointing it; he was just waving it around. So it's like there was no intention to actually use the fucking gun. Still a ballsy move to do. I don't think I would have done the same. But it's the guy that fucking kept robbing stores and got in a high speed chase and ended up fucking crashing and dying. So, so it was like the motherfucker died anyways. I heard someone at the store in Chico got fired because they had more than $300 in their drawer, and we're only supposed to have $200. Grimy. Yeah, get robbed at gunpoint, and it's like you're not getting
like,
fired.
What if
robbed, you're getting fired for not following.
What if the person right in front of them just paid with $100 bill?
Yeah, see, that's the fucked up thing, because you're supposed to, when somebody gives you $100 bills, you're supposed to stop what you're doing, put it in the safe, and then continue the transaction. And they say that same thing if someone hands you like fucking, because I've had this. Somebody's hand me like fucking $700 for gas today, all in $100 bills, and I have to stop what I'm doing, put it in the safe, and then continue.
For a truck?
Yeah, for a truck. There's this, it's this one short, like older guy. He always pays in cash. That's the most I've ever seen him do it. Usually that's $300, $400. He had $700, but it's like, they always tell us, it's like, nobody's going to get mad at you for having to stop and then do that kind of stuff. And if they give you 20, I've had him do also, it's like, that's $400. That's five fucking, yeah, that's fucking like $20 bills. Yeah, 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, like $20 bills, and sometimes the safe moves really fucking slow, and you got a line behind them. People get irritated, but upper management doesn't understand how retail works, so they're always bitching.
So on March 14th, and I'm still here, you guys, obviously, but my phone's about to die, so I just got off the call. But on March 14th, an apparent suicide note was scrawled in pencil on a bit of paper and was found tucked in a shoe in a pile of men's clothing by the ocean's edge at the foot of Breeze Avenue in Venice. The note read, "To whom it may concern, I have waited for the police to capture me for the Black Dahlia killing, but I have not. I am too much of a coward to turn myself in, so this is the best way out for me. I couldn't help myself for that or this. Sorry, Mary." And the pile of clothes was discovered by a beach caretaker who reported the discovery to a lifeguard, Captain John Dillon. Dillon immediately notified Captain L.E. Christensen of West Los Angeles Police Station, and the clothes included a coat and trousers of blue herringbone tweed, a brown and white t-shirt, white jockey shorts, tan socks, tan moccasin leisure shoes, and a size about 8. And the clothes gave no clue to the identity of their owner.
Whoever it was, they did it. Anybody with a size 8 shoe is definitely a serial killer. I'm just kidding. That's not who
I think Steven wears a size 8.
He does. Maybe actually. I forgot. You're right. He has extremely short feet. I forgot about that. We used to make fun of him all the time, call him Babyfoot. We always say he has baby feet. Little foot.
I am the opposite.
I wear like 10.5s, I think. What, you got like 12s?
13.
13. God damn.
Damn. I wear a 10.
You know what they say about big feet, right? Long foreskin. So what's next?
So the police.
If I still had one, I'm sure.
Police quickly. Yeah, it grows back with your long feet, but
with long feet, you got the Wolverine healing factor only for foreskin. I think Matthew used to make that joke. I can't remember, but it was like, does Wolverine's foreskin just keep growing back?
Keeps cutting it off before he fucks women.
That would suck because Wolverine does feel pain.
Fuck.
It's a real sleek look, though.
Cuts it off a couple hours prior, and then he heals himself up. He's good to go. So police quickly deemed Mark Hansen the owner of the address book found in the packet a suspect. Hansen was a wealthy local nightclub owner and nightclub and theater owner, an acquaintance to those.
Wait,
an acquaintance. Sorry, I just.
Oh no, and Mike said something too. I spaced it out. Theater. Oh, and actually, Casey, yeah, he definitely did it, and he fucking got her in the ass with a Muppet. And then later, his son Chris Hansen created. took it on the road. Kermit the Frog.
He's actually related to Chris Hansen.
Oh, Chris Hansen. Oh yeah, that's Hansen, not Henson.
Chris Hansen.
Damn it! What are you doing here? Apparently, you're accusing me of murder. I have my alibi right here.
Why did you say that?
I call you Chris Handsome.
See, I call you Chris
and I want you.
I'm a booty warrior.
That's one of the funniest things Matt has ever showed me.
Oh yeah, and the funniest part is that's based off a real fucking dude, same name, everything.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh, Matthew hasn't showed you that. Yeah, he was in prison for I don't fucking know whatever, but same fucking voice, same fucking name, Fleet Johnson, I think. Fleet Johnson, I don't remember. But yeah, he's tried to fucking rape a guard. He's tried to done other shit like that. And then he's all these people walking around, sagging their pants, his new whatever, talking about it's gangster. Oh, man, that's just easy access for me, like whatever. And he says in the fucking documentary thing about him or the news thing, whatever it was, he's like, no, booty is more important than food. It's more important than water. And he's just like going on about it the same way he does in that Boondocks episode. So it's like, it's funny as fuck, but it's based off a real fucking dude. Fleet Johnson or whatever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's just, this shit's hella funny. That's what I try to tell people, because the whole sagging jeans thing, everybody said it used to mean availability in prison. It wasn't. It was
for that guy. Guy.
I like. You can even fucking look. I've looked it up on Wikipedia and shit and other shit. It started as a fucking fashion fucking thing for like, oh, this is what gangsters, whatever. It's like it didn't start in prison, but Fleet Johnson said it's like even he was in prison for hella fucking whatever like years, and then people started showing up bagging their pants. Yeah, that's. I forget what he did to be in there. I don't know if it was rape.
Probably rape.
Yeah, but like because he was around before people started sagging their jeans, and when he started seeing that, it's like they think they're gangster.
Yeah.
But it's just
rape, many rapes.
Yeah. Who knows? I have been alive for many rapes of many eons. I am the Silver Surfer of. I am the herald of. God damn it, dude! I can't think of a fucking a sexual thing for Galactus. Fuck.
Oh well.
It's not that important. It's just it's gonna put me on a watch list. I keep doing this. This is like second episode.
But
this motherfucker, he's definitely gonna rape somebody in a Marvel superhero costume soon.
Oh my god, that's staying in.
He's gonna be raping the homeless wearing a Moon Knight costume. And when we found him raping the homeless in a Moon Knight costume, we asked him why. He simply just replied with, "They didn't give Moon Knight enough time, enough screen time, and he deserves a second season." I don't know what that's about. Definitely has nothing to do with him shoving carrots in the ass of that man.
Oh my god! And he brought it back.
Marshmallows too. 'Tis the time of year. 'Tis the time of year. Get him in a police vehicle. Trick or treat. Trick or treat. All right.
But back to Mr. Hansen. According to some.
Mr. Hansen.
According to some sources, Hansen also confirmed that the purse and shoe discovery in the alley were in fact Short's. And Toth, Short's friend and roommate, told investigators that Short recently rejected sexual advances from Hansen and suggested that it's a potential motive for him to kill her. However, he was cleared of all suspicion in the case. In addition to Hansen, the Los Angeles Police Department interviewed over 150 men in the ensuing weeks whom they believed to be potential suspect.
Why was that guy dismissed?
I think because the weird coincidental fucking evidence towards it. Because didn't they send a thing with his address in the book? Like there was some shit in the address book. Pages were ripped out, but his was still in there, and it seemed like they were trying to point all the blame to him. Also, his his location didn't add up. One of his friends seen him seeing a show or something in some other place, and he also had another home in some other place. It was a something hour drive. There was I can't remember the fucking thing.
Okay, so pretty much he had an alibi.
He wasn't in the area. Yeah, a friend or whatever, an acquaintance or associate, something, seen him watching a showing of something in one location that was a different town, and then his second home or his other home that he was staying at the time. It was a something hour drive just between there. There was no way he can go to the showing, go back to that place, or even go back to the same fucking town that she was in that amount of time. But Makes also, sense. It seemed like people are trying to pin him for it. Is that the one she used to stay with too? Or is that a different person?
I think, yeah. I have him on the suspect list. I have some details further down.
My bad. See, I don't know if you have all that detail. See, I didn't write anything down, so I'm just going on my fucking blurry ass memory of things. My vague ass memories. So I'm gonna sound like an idiot if you go. Yeah, he basically he had an alibi. There was no way he could have been at the place of murder and been at wherever he was at. I thought it was a show. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. So there was a total of 750 investigators from the LAPD and other departments that worked on the case during its initial stages, including 400 sheriff deputies and 250 California State Patrol officers. Various locations were searched for potential evidence, including storm drains throughout Los Angeles, abandoned structures, and various sites along the LA River, but the searches yielded no further evidence. City Councilman Lloyd G. Davis posted a $10,000 reward in 2022 that's equivalent to $131,058 for information leading to Short's killer. After the announcement of the reward, various people came forward with confessions, most of which the police dismissed as false. Several of the false confessors were also charged with obstruction of justice. On January 26th, another letter received by the Examiner, at this time handwritten, which read, "Here it is, turning Wednesday, January 29th, 10 a.m. Had my fun at the police, Black Dahlia Avenger." The letter also named a location in which the supposed killer would turn himself in. Police waited at the location on the morning of January 29th, but the alleged killer did not appear. Instead, at 1 p.m., the Examiner offices received yet another cut and pasted letter which read, "Have changed my mind. You would have not given me a square deal. The Dahlia killing was justified." The graphic nature of the crime scene was subsequent, and the subsequent letters received by the Examiner has resulted in a media circus surrounding Short's murder. Both local and national publications covered this story heavily, many of which reprinted sensationalized reports suggesting that Short had been tortured for hours prior to death. The information, however, was false, yet police allowed the reports to circulate so to conceal Short's true cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage, from the public. Further reports about her personal life were publicized, including details of her alleged declining of Hanson's sexual advances. Additionally, a stripper who was an acquaintance of Short's told police that she'd like to get guys worked up over her, but she'd leave them hanging dry. This led to some reporters, namely mostly the Herald Express and detectives, to look at the possibility that Short was a lesbian and begin questioning employees and patrons of gay bars in Los Angeles. This claim, however, remained unsubstantiated. Fuck, man, I can't say the word.
Unsubstantiated?
Yes. The Herald Express also received several letters from the perpetrated killer, again made with cut and pasted clippings, one which read, "I will give up on the Dahlia killings if I get 10 years. Don't try and find me." On February 1st, the Los Angeles Daily News reported that the case had run into a stone wall with no new leads for investigators to pursue. The Examiner continued to run stories on the murder and the investigation from investigation, which was front page news for 35 days following the discovery of the body. When interviewed, lead investigator Captain Jack Donahue
yeah,
told the press that he believed that Short's murder had been taking place in a remote building or shack on the outskirts of Los Angeles, and that her body was transported into the city where it was disposed of. Based on the precise cuts and dissection of Short's body, the LAPD looked into the possibility that the murderer had been a surgeon, doctor, or someone with medical knowledge. In mid-February 1947, the LAPD served a warrant to the University of Southern California Medical School, which was located near the site of the body, located near the site where the body had been discovered, requesting a complete list of the program's students. The university agreed so long as the students' identities remained private. Background checks were conducted but yielded no results. And so that's their whole background to their investigation, basically. And then we get into their murder suspects. Ooh. So the notoriety of Short's murder had spurred a large number of confessions over the years, many of which had been deemed false. During the initial investigation into her murder, police received a total of 60 confessions, mostly made by men, and since that time, over 500 people have confessed to the crime, some who were not even born at the time of her death. Sergeant John P. St. John, Jesus Christ.
That's a hell of a name.
I know.
Dude, these names all sound like they're fucking made up in a fucking erotic novel or something where someone's getting fucked at the end. Well, I mean, someone did get fucked at the end, just not in the fun kind. Maybe both.
But he was a detective who worked this case until his retirement, stated that it's amazing how many people offer up a relative as the killer. So now we get into our suspect list. So these suspects were the original 24 viable suspects, but some of them, well, I'm pretty sure everybody on this list, besides a couple, let me just double check my notes. Okay, so some people on this list are going to have some background, but some people were cleared, so there's nothing really
interesting.
Yeah, so there's Carl Balsiger, C. Welsh, Sergeant Chuck, John D. Wade, Joe Scalise, James Nemo.
Say Nemo, yeah, Nemo probably sounds right. I'm not though. Maurice. Maurice.
Damn. Call me Maurice.
Oh yeah, call me Maurice. That's what it was.
Yeah.
A Chicago police officer.
That's his Chicago police officer. He doesn't really have a name. He was someone the simulation created. We didn't really have time for names for this one.
He's not a main character in this story.
Salvador Torres Vera, Dr. George Hodel, which is who I favor for the murderer.
A Chicago police officer number 2. Oh, the Dr. George Hodel. Yeah, Hodel. That's who I pinned for it too. I fucking watched the whole thing about his family.
Marvin Margolis, Glenn Wolfe, Michael Anthony Otero, George Bakos, Francis Campbell, Queer Woman. Queer Woman. I knew you were gonna laugh at it, Joseph.
Queer woman surgeon, like weird, or as in like she was strange, or as in.
No, I think she was possibly homosexual. I'm not sure.
Well, judging by when this description was written, it could mean weird.
That's what I was wondering, because back then it's like people use queer to say like odd, like weird.
But her title was Queer Woman's Surgeon Christy Reynolds.
Her official title. It's like job title. I was a queer woman surgeon. What's that? I only worked on queer women. That's it. Apparently, they didn't let gays and straights into our hospital in the same door.
Dr. Paul D. Gaston, Dr. A.E. Briggs, Dr. M.M. Schwartz, Dr. Arthur McGinnis Fott, Dr. Patrick S. O'Reilly, Mark Hansen, and Benjamin Bugsy Siegel.
Benjamin Bugsy Siegel?
Yeah,
that's a real name.
Oh,
yeah, I thought he was a mobster.
Benjamin Bugsy Siegel.
Bugsy was probably his straight name. I'm assuming.
That seems too creative for a fucking mobster, and this is like 100%. I don't think 98%. I don't think it would have been that guy, because a mobster that's that fucking detailed means that they would have done it. There would have been multiple times. You would have seen this multiple times in the area, because if that's just something he did to fucking people that crossed them, you would have seen him doing it to rival fucking mobsters. You would have been seeing him doing it to police officers, maybe. You just or unless they were all covered up by the police, and the only reason she wasn't was because a civilian called it in at the wrong time, wrong place at the wrong time.
So Walter Bailey, he's our first suspect on the list. Bailey was a Los Angeles surgeon who lived 1 block south of the vacant lot at which Short's body was found until he left his wife in October 1946. His daughter was a friend of Short's sister, Virginia, and had been the matron of honor at her wedding. When Bailey died in 1948, his autopsy showed that he was suffering from a degenerative brain disease, and after his death, his widow alleged that the mistress knew a terrible secret about Bailey. It was made the main beneficiary upon his death as a result. Bailey was never a suspect in the case, but many medical doctors and others with medical training were in secret testimony in training were suspects, and then in secret testimony, Detective Harry Hansen, one of the original investigators, told the 1949.
These are not. These don't seem like real fucking names.
But he told 1949 Los Angeles County grand jury that his opinion that the killer was a top medical man, a fine surgeon. Bailey was 67 years old at the time of the murder, had no known history of violence or criminal activity of any kind, and is not known to have met Short, even though his daughter was Short's oldest, a friend of Short's oldest sister. But I didn't write this down in my notes, but the brain disease that he had did a side effect of it is violence and personality change, so that's why people kind of suspect him, but he was never named a suspect officially.
Is that the guy who you think it is, or was it someone else?
No, we'll get to him. That's the guy that I think it is what's his face? George Hodel. He's coming down the list. Joseph, tell us about Norman Chandler.
All right, Norman Chandler, also known as Chandler Bings. He was on Friends, and he married Monica. I'm just kidding. Donald Wolf's 2005 book, The Black Dahlia Files, the mob, the mogul, the murder that transfixed.
Did you say Wolf?
Did I say Wolf? Donald Wolf, right? Donald Wolf? Wolf? I say Wolf. All right, I'm sorry. All right, that's how I talk. Okay, Donald Wolf's 2005 book, The Black Dahlia Files, the mob, the mogul, the murder that transfixed Los Angeles' names. Norman Chandler, publisher of the Los Angeles Times from 1945 to 1960, as a suspect in the murder. In a complicated scenarios involving multiple perpetrators, Wolf claims that Chandler impregnated Short while she was working as a call girl for the notorious Hollywood Madame, Brenda Wallen, which led to her murder at the hands of gangster Bugsy Siegel. Wolf's claim that Short was a prostitute is at odds with the Los Angeles...
Was that guy actually a gangster?
Yes. He was a Los Angeles mobster. I think he was actually from Boston.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, all the Los Angeles County District Attorney's files, which plainly state that she was not, as Wolf asserts, pregnant. I said that so weird because I kept trying to keep up with the accent. Yeah, no, the Bugsy thing sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like an East Coast type fucking nickname. Actually, D12, one of the original members of D12's name was wasn't it Bugsy?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but the dude fucking he died. Was it Bugsy? It might not have been Bugsy. Oh, Bugs. I think it was just Bugs. I don't fucking remember. Now I'm gonna look at it right now. Yeah, it was just Bugs. It wasn't Bugsy. It was Bugs.
So I was talking shit about you saying words wrong, and I can't even read half the shit I write. So it's I pronounce wolf as wolf. I say syrup and not syrup. But as I always say constantly, well, Syria is not called Syria. Unless that's how people say Brown. Cleveland Brown. Syria. So Leslie Dillon, he was a 27-year-old bellhop, aspiring writer, and former mortician's assistant who became suspect when he began writing to the Los Angeles Police Department psychiatrist Dr. J. Paul D. River in October 1948. Dillon was living in Florida at the time of his correspondence with D. River, but had formerly lived in Los Angeles. He read a story about the case in True Detective Style magazine, in which D. River was quoted and wrote to D. River regarding his theories on the case. In his correspondence, he mentioned an intense interest in sadism and sexual violence in hopes of authoring a book on the subject. Dillon offered up one of his friends, Jeff Connors, as a likely suspect. Over the course of their correspondence, D. River began to believe that Connors did not exist and that Dillon had committed the murder himself. Police soon discovered that Connors did indeed exist, and his real name was Artie Lane. Lane had lived in Los Angeles at the time of the murder and was employed by Columbia Studios, a favorite hangout of Shorts, and he was working as a maintenance man. Joseph, talk about yourself in this one. You should have said this name as your intro.
I'm Joseph A. Demias. Demias once was a 29-year-old soldier stationed at Fort Dix. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Why didn't I say it? It was in New Jersey. So he confessed to Short's murder a few weeks after it occurred, although this breakthrough, quote-unquote breakthrough, was quickly dismissed by the original investigators. The Los Angeles press covered it enthusiastically until it was revealed that Demias had been at Fort Dix at the time of the murder. Demias was cleared of any involvement in the crime, although he continued to claim he killed Short each time he was arrested for various offenses, well into the 1950s. What a weird fucking thing. Hey, you can't be peeing on a playground. I fucking killed Short. I did it. Don't arrest me. Go on. No, dude, we're not doing that. You pissed down the fucking slide again. Yeah. I pissed on
this time. This time there's a child on it.
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna get me for indecent exposure? You gonna get me for murder? I don't know. Come on, get me for murder.
Maybe this guy wasn't right in the head.
He probably wasn't. I think he just wanted out of the military at the time. What was going on in between that time? He might have preferred prison over the military. He was probably trying to get out of fucking active duty. Well, it probably wasn't active duty, actually. He was on. Never mind.
Our next suspect that we briefly talked about was Mark Hansom. He was as we said earlier, a Hollywood nightclub owner whose home Short lived with him for a little bit at his home. I don't.
She fucking lived with him. All right, that's the gist of the fucking thing.
Either as playing boarder or as a guest on several occasions between May 1946 and October 1946. Hansen's girlfriend, Ann Toth, shared a room with Short in this house, which was near Hansen's nightclub. Short called Hansen from San Diego on January 8th, making him one of the last people known to have spoken to her. The Los Angeles County District files indicate that Hansen made contradictory
statements to authorities.
Contradictory statements to authorities about the nature of his conversation. An address book embossed with Hansen's name was among Short's belongings mailed to the Los Angeles Examiner after her murder by someone claiming to be the killer. The address book belonged to Hansen, but he never used it. Short had been using it as her own. And the DA's files also indicate that Hansen tried to seduce Short, but was rebuffed. He was one of the first serious suspects in the case, and he was still a prime suspect into the late 1951s. Hansen also linked three other suspects, each of whom was a medical doctor, Dr. Patrick S. O'Reilly, Dr. M.M. Schwartz, and Dr. Arthur McGinnis Fraught.
So that was well, before with the contradictory thing, my brain got scrambled there for a minute. I kept wanting to say Contradictionary. It's an R.A. Ruggedman song. Yeah, so something that I was looking at this thing where it was saying that he had that he was like very like fucking obsessed with her or something, that she couldn't even bring. She had to tell him she was a virgin or whatever to get him to leave her alone or some shit, and that she would have her like the guy she went on
dates. Like sluts.
I like sluts. Get out of here, Short. Go get. But yeah, so and then she leaves crying. It's like, and he looks at his girlfriend that's in the room. It's like, well, that made for a short relationship. Give me a martini. But yeah, no. So apparently she would get dropped off down the road or some shit, and then she would come back, and he would get hella mad, like he was jealous that she was like seeing guys and all this stuff. I don't know. It was like a weird fucking thing. I mean, they weren't together or anything, but he was like weirdly obsessed with her. Apparently. He would flip the fuck out if she went on dates with people, and to calm him down, she had to say she was a virgin.
Wow, that guy must have been really pissed because she went on like 75.
Yeah, that's what it's like. All these guys just dropped her off down the fucking road, but he knew. We up here to slut again, Short? Don't make me lose my temper. That's where it came from. It's like, you're short-tempered because he was always mad about her. My temper is very short. I don't have time for this. I'm a busy man. I own a nightclub, and I definitely don't know how to dissect you from the waist down.
I'm glad this next suspect landed on you since you watched that hour documentary.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about Mr. George Hodel, Joseph.
Dr. George Hill Hodel Jr. came under police scrutiny in October 1949. When his 14-year-old daughter, Tamar, accused him of molesting her, despite three witnesses testifying that they had seen Hodel having sex with Tamar, he was acquitted in December 1949. The trial led the LAPD to include Hodel, a physician specializing in sexually transmitted diseases, among its many suspects in the Dahlia case. Police put Hodel under surveillance from February 18th to March 27th. From February 18th to March 27th in 1950, to a certain ascertain. God damn it, dude! Whether he could be implicated in the murder. And the surviving transcripts. I'm transcripping words. Surviving transcripts of microphone recordings. Hodel was heard making highly incriminating statements. Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they couldn't prove it now. And I can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead. They thought there was something fishy. Anyway, now they may have figured it out. Killed her, maybe I did. Kill my secretary. George Hodel, February 18, 1950. The secretary referred to was Ruth Spaulding, who police had previously suspected of being murdered by Hodel in 1945. He was present when Spaulding overdosed and had burnt some of her papers before police were called. The case was dropped owing to lack of evidence, but documents were later found that indicated Spaulding was about to publicly accuse Hodel of intentionally misdiagnosing patients and billing them for laboratory tests, medical treatment, and prescriptions not needed. Hodel's son,
current
fucking medical.
Yeah, like how people do shit now. That's why I went to the fucking doctor's not recently. It was in August, because I was getting this fucking like rash in my armpit, and they were trying to cram fucking antidepressants and oh god damn it, what's it called? I've talked about this before. Heart medication shit. Blood pressure medication. Even though they said, and I was like, oh, is it that high? And they're just like, it's just concerning. It'd be concerning if you were an older man. And it's like, well, that's a weird thing to fucking say. Also, by the way, these bastards, and I said this in a group thing, but it's funny. They put under my medical illnesses as alcohol abuser, or the term for it, the medical term is antidepressant abuser. Which is like, I thought alcohol was a depressant. I don't fucking understand. Anyways, medical treatment prescriptions not needed. Let's get back. Hodel's son, former LAPD homicide detective Steve Hodel, believes Short may have been one of his father's patients. George Hodel's son, Steve, started to suspect him of killing Elizabeth Short after George's death. For Steve Hodel, a former LAPD detective, the idea that his father, George, may have killed Elizabeth Short started with a hunch. While looking through George's belongings after his death, he found a tiny photo album that contained 2 photos of a dark-haired woman, a woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to the Black Dahlia. Steve started to dig into his theory and came up with some compelling clues. His father, a doctor, would have had the skill necessary to slice the Black Dahlia into. His handwriting seemed to match letters to the police, and he appeared to have purchased bags of concrete shortly before Short's death, which matched bags found near her body. I just like the way that flowed. This is the person 100% that I believe fucking killed her.
It's sounding like it.
Yeah, and when I was delving into like his fucking background with shit, I was like watching a thing about him. Better than saying delve. So since he was like, so when he was a child, he was really good at the piano and everything. His mom, Hodel's mom, wouldn't let him play with other kids because she was afraid he was going to ruin his hands and ruin his music career. So he's always fucking pissed off about that. She dies.
Skateboarding.
Fucking shredded it. That's how he did on the keyboard. Shredded it. That's not how keyboards sound. Pianos, not keyboard. Whatever. So after she died, he always had really good fucking grades. He put down the fucking piano. He just quit music altogether because he despised it because of her. That wasn't the end of his fucking love for art, though. He continued on with fucking art later on. He loved paintings. He loved surreal art. I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about art, and my brain is too foggy right now to remember. But he was really into fucking art. He liked to see the fucking hidden meanings of shit and all that crap. The dude was a fucking genius. So when he was a teenager, he did a IQ test. Anything over 140, you're considered a genius. He scored 186. And they said it was the same score that Einstein had. I think it was 186. He scored the same that Einstein did in an IQ test. This kid was a genius. He went to which school did he go to? When he was 17, he went to a fucking college. He slept with his professor's wife, impregnated her, wanted to be with her. She moved away and denied him. And it's like, nah, dude, you're a kid. Get the fuck out of here. I just wanted that smart dick for a minute. And so he's like, rats. So he went back to school. They fucking kicked him out. He went to Caltech. I don't remember if that's the one that kicked him out. I thought that was crazy. Big Bang Theory, Caltech. Yeah. They've never made a joke about this guy. He fucking just flawlessly got through fucking school. He was fucking hella smart. So that was the first, that kid. I don't know if he still had I don't know if he had contact with the pregnant woman after that. Also, I don't know if this was in there too. Not only was he doing the thing where giving people medication, diagnosing them with fake shit, he was also running like illegal or giving people whatever for illegal abortion clinics and shit like that. That's not so bad. My brain's a little loose here. So he had his fucking oldest daughter come and stay with him, the one that was all the molestation things. From what I read, I'm saying a lot. From what I read, the mom of that child said she is a compulsive liar. But he used to host these orgies and stuff. His wife would be there too, but she wasn't. They don't. It wasn't for sure if she was into it or because she was deathly afraid of him. So she could have just been involved because whatever. But he would have his 14-year-old daughter like pose nude and stuff, and then he would try to, from what she said, try to offer up to the people that were there and everything sexually. And then he, I guess, had her perform oral on him, said she was chosen something, was going to do other stuff. It was said that her first pregnancy was from her dad. So she gave up the baby to an adoption agency adoption agency, to an orphanage, to where the birth certificate said an unknown N-word father. I'm not going to say it. And so the baby was sent to live with a black family because that's what they did with shit like that. And back then in those days, which was, I forget her, the name she was going by when she was adopted. Her mother was a drunk. Her name's Fauna Hodel. And so she, they actually made a fucking TV series, I guess, about her, then coming back and then finding the Black Dahlia killer. So it's like kind of based off of her book, the real person's book. So she was born believing she was light skinned and that she was going to get darker when she got older. So Fauna Hodel, she went through her whole life living with like in a black neighborhood. Everybody's always asked about her skin, to the point that she used to carry around her birth certificate showing that it says unnamed black father. I'm going to say it that way. And so just to prove that she was also like dark skinned, she would have to keep showing people her birth certificate. The point, she used to like sunbathe and everything else, trying to make herself darker because she just believed she was a light skinned baby, blue eyes, fucking white, and she thought she was part black and that she was gonna eventually.
That is a white child.
Yeah, it's so she her stepdad, or well, the guy, the boyfriend of her fucking, oh, by the way, the TV series, Chris Pine, I think, is the killer in it. So yeah, the TV series, it stars Chris Pine. It's a short series. It came out in 2019. Flew completely. It's named after the book I Am the Night. It's based off the book that Fauna Hodel wrote about her family. So she finds out by her fucking by the mom, who's an alcoholic, who doesn't fucking like her, everything else, whatever. I think because, well, I don't know exactly why, I forget, but her boyfriend's the one that tells Fauna Hodel that she's adopted. So Fauna finds her, tries to find her biological family. She knew that she was in an adoption place or an orphanage in like San Francisco, but her family was from LA. So she just started going through the phone book, the yellow pages, going through every Hodel and fucking whatever after she got all that name. And who does she get a hold of? None other than her fucking grandfather, which is Hodel in question here. Why did I forget his name already? George Hodel. So he gets a hold of her. He puts her in contact with her biological mother, who's living in Hawaii at the time. She goes there. Her mother tells her that her birth name was Fauna. She changes her name to Fauna. Oh, and by the way, she married a black. This isn't really important, but it was a black guy she married. Or well, no, she got with a black guy. I don't know if they were married. They had a kid together. She took the kid to Hawaii. She ends up having another kid. I don't know if it's with the same person, but she ends up having one black kid, one white kid. They're like opposites, I guess. One is married to a woman, the other one's married to a man. Not opposite because their skin color, but I guess their personalities are kind of opposite. And then I don't know. Maybe there was a joke in there because of that. I don't know. It was kind of stupid. But they're the ones that kept uncovering their mom's tapes with things. Fauna Hodel, who talked about the whatever. I think she believed that her grandfather also was the Black Dahlia murderer. But she's actually like pretty popular. She actually directed a movie, or she wrote the script to a movie. She's a motivational speaker for racial equality and human rights because she grew up, well, thinking she was black. So, I mean, this is a real fucking, what's that? What is that? What's his fucking name? God damn it. Ace Ventura.
Pet Detective.
Yeah, that dude. No. Oh, well, I mean, his name. I can't think of his fucking name right now.
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey. There we go. There's that Jim Carrey movie where he. Oh, no, wait. No, he didn't think he was. No, I'm mixing two different movies.
Thinking of a Steve Martin movie.
Yeah, Steve Martin. Steve Martin. Yeah, that Steve Martin movie. That's how Fauna's life. I mean, not exactly. That Fauna grew up thinking she was black, but she was white the whole time. She was an adopted white girl, and she thought she was half black the whole time. Everybody thought she was just light skinned and whatever. So, and it's like, it's not. She was a white woman. And then she found her fucking mom. She wrote a true crimes memoir called "One Day She'll Darken: The Mysterious Beginnings of Fauna Hodel." Yeah, and that's when she discovered her mom told her that possibly like her dad was her grandfather because he raped her or whatever. I don't think they ever did a DNA test, or they couldn't figure it out.
Her father, you mean?
Yeah, her father.
Like either way, her dad would be her grandpa.
Yeah, her dad is her grandpa, like at the same time. So that's all this crazy shit happened with her. And yeah, I mean, she believed the same shit. But back to fucking George. Sorry, I'm scattered everywhere. George Hodel. So he was really into fucking paintings and shit. He was obsessed with the work from this guy named Man Ray or Man Rays. I laugh so fucking hard. The Man Ray or whatever the fuck his name is from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
So he was obsessed with this guy's work, and they believe that he fucking he put Short in that position because it was an artistic. Man Ray had a fucking painting of a half woman, half minotaur, and she has her hands up in the exact motion that the Black Dahlia had her hands up, the same exact fucking way up like that. And Man Ray, I think he was friends with Man Ray. I think they're thinking they fucking did the murders together. I think it was. I don't know, but Man Ray believed that a woman's body is only meant for artistic whatever, like their only purpose is to be viewed as art. There's something about her lips in a painting that resembles the fucking the Glasgow thing. There's a bunch of different I don't know. They kind of seem vague as they went on, but the main one was the fucking painting they showed, and it's like the woman's arms are like the same way that hers were because it seemed like she was positioned the same way as the half woman, half like the woman Minotaur fucking painting from this guy Man Ray.
Yeah, and painting art.
It's my eyes. Is that a Minotaur?
Is that a Minotaur? Yeah, and then also supposedly in those fucking tapes with him, there was like faint screaming like from a basement or some shit. His kid came out and said that he never seemed to like children. He used to scare them. Apparently, what was it, like in the halls with a speaker? Or I don't know what the fuck it was, but he would be like yelling at them saying, "This is God" and shit like that, like trying to put the fear of God into them.
He was an asshole.
Yeah, he didn't seem to get along with his children at all. When they would go on trips with their dad, and he would leave them in the car for long periods of time. and it turned out later that they'd find out it's because he was fucking women in places, and that he believed. Oh, maybe. He believed that the soul. I forget all the fucking thing. He believed that the sole purpose in life revolved around having sex. Like he believed like a sexual fucking whatever. That's what made the world fucking go around.
This guy was a fucking serial killer.
Yeah, he said, or there was another body found that was cut the same fucking way. And I forget what it was, but it had the initials BD on the body, like Black Dahlia. And they said the handwriting is almost identical to George Hodell's handwriting. And after all this shit with the recording and stuff, he fled to another country. Was that written there? He fled to another fucking country to where another body was cut up in that country, miles from his house. There was a body that was found a couple miles from his house when they say he didn't flee the country, but he fled the country. And they said he had connections because no one can find the recordings anymore, just the writing. The LAPD had connections in there because, again, he worked. So back then, if you had an STD, it meant that you were
promiscuous, like whatever. Police officers.
Yeah, that's what they're saying is so. Back then, it wasn't just like, oh, you can contract STD. No, you were whoring around like government officials. If they caught an STD, they're automatically considered people cheating on their wives, and so they would people wouldn't reelect them and shit like that. Like it was like a real fucking stigma back then. So they're saying that he probably fucking he was blackmailing police officers and shit. Like he had a bunch of people in his pocket pretty much because he was like, well, you had the clap fucking 2 weeks ago. So either get rid of the tapes or you fucking piss off and let everybody know that you got the drip, dog. Yeah, he fucking I'm trying to remember the fucking fuck. I should have wrote this shit down because I'm just like all over the fucking place. Supposedly wherever he fucking fled to, though, they found a fucking body. Apparently, though, when he fled to the Philippines, they found another body killed the same way. Now I can't fucking remember the guy.
How has this case not been solved?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was fucking.
I mean, I guess it's circumstantial, but it's like, come on.
He seems like the most whatever. He was a fucking genius, like kid.
Well, there's plenty of serial killers that were fucking stupid. There's more stupid ones than smart ones. Shit. Just so happens that one of the most famous serial killers of all time happened to be really smart. That being Ted Bundy.
This person says, when I mentioned Dr. George Hill Hodel Jr. in an earlier post, I mentioned the Jigsaw murders in Manila, Philippines in the 1960s. Dr. Hodel Jr. as a prime suspect in the murder of the Black Dahlia is an excellent candidate for the murderer, especially considering Lucila Lalu was found in almost the exact same condition as Elizabeth Short. So her name was Lucila Lalu. I guess this is the Jigsaw murders in Manila. It wasn't a great place to live in the 1960s. Crazy crime. But that doesn't explain why they were surgically fucking sliced in half unless they were inspired by it. But okay, so Lucila Lalu was married to a police officer and she owned a beauty store and a nightclub. So in May 28th, 1967, Lucila Lalu went to work, but she never returned home. She went missing for 2 days and was never discovered. On May 30th, 1967, they found the lower portion of her body near a river, and then later the upper body was found in a park near a major intersection. Her head was never found. The police seemed to make some blunders during the investigation. The biggest one was they didn't search the prime suspect's apartment when they arrested him. Instead, they waited. And that the scene, by which the scene of the crime was contaminated, and there was no evidence, and there was no evidence that possibly could have been planted there. They had a confession, but it seemed like it was coerced. 2 other Filipino women were murdered in a much similar manner in the 2 years before Lalu's murder. And see, this is in 1960, and if he fled 1950, he had a whole fucking 10 years of fucking murdering people. The information on these women, though, are nearly impossible to receive. They may not exist except outside the mind of one demented journalist. But yeah, they said they found her, or that she lived. I forget what it fucking was. I just scrambled through this. She either lived very close to him, or her body was found very close to where he was living at the time in the Philippines. That's too coincidental.
Yeah,
that's why I was it makes the most sense. But what's the lipstick murders?
So the lipstick murders. So the Hodel son Steve and another author, William Rasmussen, have suggested a link between the short murder and the 1946 murder and disembodiment of 6-year-old Suzanne Deegan in Chicago, Illinois. Captain Donahoe of the LAPD stated publicly that he believed that the Black Dahlia and the lipstick murder in Chicago were likely connected. Among the evidence cited is the fact that Short's body was found on Norton Avenue, 3 blocks west of Deegan Boulevard, Deegan being the last name of the girl from Chicago. There's also striking similarities between the handwriting on the Deegan ransom note and that of the Black Dahlia Avenger. Both texts used a combination of capital and small letters. The Deegan note read in part, "Burn this for her safety," and it's capital B, lowercase u, capital RN, and then capital T, lowercase HIS, and then capital F, lowercase o, capital R, lowercase HE, capital R, and then capital SA, lowercase f, capital TY, and both notes contained a similar mishapen letter P and one word that matches exactly. Convicted serial killer William Henares served life in prison for Deegan's murder, initially arrested at the age of 17 for breaking into a residence close to that of Deegan's. Henares claimed that he was tortured by police and forced to confess and made a scapegoat for the murder. After being taken from the medical infirmary at Dixon Correctional Center on February 26, 2012 for health problems, Henares died in the University of Illinois Medical Center on March 5th, 2012 at the age of 83 and still claimed his innocence. And the son suspects that if he suspected that his father was a Black Dahlia murder, he suspects that he killed that girl as well.
Was he living in Chicago at the time?
No, but it was in 46. He could have just went down there, took a jaunt. But they believe it was connected due to the handwriting. Because it was a perfect match.
It was a perfect match. All right. So next guy.
Another George Knowlton. There was a little reliable.
Too much.
There was little reliable information available on George Knowlton except for the fact that he lived in Los Angeles, in the LA area at the time of the Black Dahlia murder, and died in a car accident in 1962. In the early 1990s, George Knowlton's daughter Janice began claiming that she witnessed her father murdering Elizabeth Short, and a claim she based largely on recovered memories that surfaced during therapy for depression after a hysterectomy. Based on these recovered memories, Knowlton published Daddy Was the Black Dahlia Killer with veteran crime writer Michael Newton in 1995. In the book, Knowlton, a former professional singer and owner of a public relations company, alleged that her father had been having an affair with Elizabeth Short, and Short was staying in a makeshift bedroom in the garage where she suffered a miscarriage. George Knowlton allegedly murdered Short in the garage and bisected her in the sink, then forced her 10-year-old daughter, Janice, to accompany him when he disposed of the body. According to Knowlton, Short was a sex worker and a procurer of children for a child trafficking ring. Knowlton claimed that a former member of the LA Sheriff's Department told her that her father was considered a suspect at the time by that agency.
Now we got
that's another interesting
wild.
one.
Yeah. Robert M. Red Manley, dude. All I want to know is how he got the nickname Red.
Well, he was a red-haired pipe clamp salesman. That's why.
I knew it. I said. I asked earlier, is he ginger?
Oh, is he redheaded? I didn't even think about that.
I googled it, so I was like, how did he get the nickname Red? And that's
dude,
why
people are
he was
so
a redheaded salesman.
People were so fucking clever back then. People were so fucking clever back then with their nicknames. It's like, hey, look, hey, Robert M. Red Manley, what are you doing out here? Nothing, just hanging out with old thin dickhead Pete over here. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just hanging. It's like, nothing. We're about to go over to lopsided testicle Joe's house over. All right, so speak. This motherfucker's spitting over here. So Robert M. Red Manley. He's very manly. He had red hair. We know that. He's the last person seen with Elizabeth Short before her disappearance. Manley was the LAPD's top suspect in the first few days after the killing. After 2 polygraph tests and a sworn alibi, Manley was set free. He also identified Short's handbag purse and one of her shoes after they were discovered in a trash can on January 25th, 1947, several miles from the murder scene. Manley, who had been discharged from the Army for mental disability, she knew how to pick him, subsequently suffered a series of nervous breakdowns and claimed to be hearing voices. As a result, he was committed to Patton State Hospital by his wife in 1954. He died on January 16th, 1986. The coroner attributed his death as an accidental fall. Was he the one that one of the things I read, one of them, it might have been him, died on like the whatever anniversary of the day she died.
Karma.
Yeah, no, it was him. He fell off his balcony and where did he live?
Well, I said he died on January 16th. She died on January 15th.
Okay, maybe the thing that I read was wrong. They were saying something about 30 years after the death, but maybe they didn't have the facts right. But still, an accidental fall. That sounds like a guilty conscience, but still not as guilty as a George Hodel. Billy Sardell.
He's still my favorite. Our next guy on the list, though, is Dr. Patrick O'Reilly, and according to the LA District Attorney files, he was a medical doctor who knew Short through the nightclub owner Mark Hansen. According to the files at the time of the murder, O'Reilly was a good friend of Hansen and a frequent of Hansen's nightclub. Files also stated that O'Reilly attended sex parties at Malibu with Hansen. O'Reilly had a history of sexual motivated violent crime. He had been convicted of assault with a deadly weapon for taking his secretary to a motel and sadistically beating her almost to death, and apparently for no other reason than to satisfy his sexual desires without intercourse. The files state further. Oh wait, intercourse. The files. Okay, without intercourse, the file states. Further, the files indicate that O'Reilly's right petrocol had been surgically removed, which investigators found similar to the mutilation of Short's body. The files indicated that O'Reilly had once been married to the daughter of an LAPD captain who was also bisexual. I don't know why that was important, but it was.
Because back then they were just aiming towards gay people.
This guy sounds like a pretty likely suspect.
Dr. Patrick S. O'Reilly. His great grandson actually opened up O'Reilly Auto Parts. Fun fact.
You're a fucking liar.
A murderer.
You get tired of tuning up women, you can come and tune up your car.
Yeah.
God damn. That's fucked up.
Wilson here, the only woman I've taken a part of these women right here. Oh, you know what? You're right. We don't. And if I was gonna destroy anybody's anus, it'd be the little exhaust pipes right here. Okay, we understand what you're saying. Now, if I was gonna give a Glasgow smile to anybody, it'd be my bitch of a grandmother. But then I'd be right back to sexually assaulting my vehicles. Why don't you get out of here? I'm going to turn back on the Beatles. I'm going to pretend like you never came. Hand me that bottle of lotion. Get the fuck out.
Tell us about our final normal.
Yeah. What are we on? Jack
Anderson.
Jack Anderson. Jack Anderson Wilson, a.k.a. Arnold Smith, a.k.a. the guy who was a lifelong petty criminal and an alcoholic who was interviewed by author John Gilmore. Ooh, John Gilmore.
No way.
That's fucking. That's a weird coincidence. I think your your Fallen Medvard character there is a reincarnation, or this is a reincarnation of your character, killing kids and now killing women. While Gilmore was researching his book, Severed. Yeah, okay. So he was interviewed by author John Gilmore while Gilmore was researching his book, Severed. Oh, wait, he wasn't the killer.
He was the author.
He was the author. My bad. Well, whatever. He's boring kids to death with his books. I'm just kidding. After Wilson's death, Gilmore named Wilson as a suspect owing to his alleged acquaintance with Short. Prior to Wilson's death, however, Gilmore made an entirely different claim to the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner in a story appearing January 17th, 1982. While Severed says that homicide detective John St. John, dude, these names are made the fuck up. There is no way.
John Gilmore, my D&D character, that John St. John.
John St. John pulled out his Johnson and gave John a. Okay, yeah. So John St. John was about to close in on Wilson based on the material Gilmore provided. St. John told the Herald-Examiner in the same article that he was busy with other killings and would review Gilmore's claims when he got time. As reliable sources of information about the case, such as the FBI files and portions of the Los Angeles District Attorney files, have become publicly available. Statements about Short and the murder attributed to Wilson and Severed and supposedly tying him to crime have not been, oh my God, borne out as accurate. What the fuck is wrong with my eyes, dude? I'm just blurring words together. I decided that funny.
Wearing your glasses.
Yeah, I know. I laughed though because it's like I'll get to that after I'm done with my other murders. I got to look at other murder things.
So those were all our normal day-to-day folk that were suspects. Well, I mean, not normal. I mean, we had doctors, weirdos, but we got some celebrity suspects as well. And one of them is going to be Bugsy, so we'll get to him. But our first one is Woody Guthrie, and he was a folk singer and was one of the many suspects in the murder, according to the L.A. County District Attorney's files. And Ramblin' Man: The Life and Times of Woody Guthrie, written by Ed Craig and published in 2004 by W.W. Norton. According to Craig, Guthrie drew police attention because some sexually explicit letters and tabloid clippings he sent to Northern California women who he was allegedly stalking. The mailings disturbed the recipient so much that they showed him to the sister in L.A., who contacted the police. Guthrie was quickly cleared of involvement in the murder, but various authorities attempted to prosecute him with minor success on charges related to sending prohibited materials through the mail. That was just a little fun one. Little folk singer and stalker. Tell us about Orson Welles.
Orson Welles was one of the variants of the Welles from the Flash CW series.
No.
I'm just playing. So in her 2000 book, Manny Pacquiao's, a former neighbor of the Short family in Medford, Massachusetts, suggested filmmaker Orson Welles as a suspect. Pacquiao's based the theory on such factors as Welles' volatile temperament and his creation of mannequins. Ooh, this is actually very interesting. 3 months before Short's death, that supposedly featured lacerations virtually identical to those inflicted on Short. The mannequins were used in the House of Mirrors set for The Lady from Shanghai, a film Welles was making with his ex-wife Rita Hayworth around the time of the murder. The scenes containing the set were deleted from the film by Harry Cohn, or Khan, I don't really know, and one of Short's last letters home. Her older sister Virginia claimed she had written that a movie director was going to give her a screen test. You made it, doll. You made it. Oh, golly jeez. What's my role? Mannequin. What? Pacquiao also cites Welles' familiarity with the site where the body was found and the magic act he performed to entertain soldiers during World War II. Those weren't magic acts. Those are strip teases. She believes that the bisection of the body was part of the killer's signature and an acting out of the perpetrator's obsession. Welles applied for his passport on January 24, 1947. The same day, the killer mailed a packet to Los Angeles newspapers. Welles left the country for an extended stay in Europe 10 months after the murder without completing the editing of Macbeth, the film he was both directing and starring in. Despite persistent attempts by Republican Pictures to get him to return to complete the film, he refused. According to Pacquiao's witnesses, she had interviewed state that Welles and the victims both frequented Brittingham's restaurant in Los Angeles during the same time period, and waitresses believed Short was going out with someone at Columbia Pictures. Welles was never a suspect in the investigation. And you know what's funny about that is Welles' son, Wally Welles, he was actually working on a rendition of Rent where he had Easy play and die of AIDS in the movie. So their family is well known for, bloody shit. That one wasn't as funny. That's a little fucked up.
And our long-awaited one that Mike's been on the edge of his seat for, Bugsy Siegel, or better known as Benjamin Bugsy Siegel. He was a LA mobster, was allegedly a suspect in the murder investigation of Short. The reason why he was suspect is unclear, especially since Siegel was more concerned with the Flamingo Hotel and Casino at the time, and he was known to be a ladies' man, not a ladies' killer. Also, Siegel was involved in the Chicago outfit Starlet, and his on-off girlfriend Virginia Hill still, according to Don Wolf's book, The Black Dahlia Files, The Mob, The Muggle, and The Murderer, that Dahlia, sorry, my bad. Murder that transfixed Los Angeles. Siegel was the actual murderer, and it has also been surmised that Siegel had that if Siegel had any involvement with the Dahlia murder, he would be sent to Mickey Conan, he would have sent Mickey Conan or one of his other henchmen. Yet the theory was that the murder may have been attempted to frame Siegel by Jack Drenga, who wanted revenge for Siegel's attacks on Drenga's business interests since his arrival in the 1930s.
Huh. That'd be kind of fucked. Kills this random person to try to get revenge on this mobster.
And there was also obviously, because we said a police officer and police officer number 2, unnamed. They also believe that the murderer could have been committed by a police officer, or at least covered up by him, especially with the mishandling of some of the evidence that was in transport.
That seems likely.
But so we talked about the lipstick murderers. I'm not going to get into these other murderers because we could actually do some episodes on these. But the Cleveland torso murderers have also been linked with the short murderers, and these murders took place in Cleveland, Ohio. Between 1934 and 1938. And then we talked about the lipstick one. We went in depth with that a little bit, but the lone woman murderers were taking place between 1943 and 1949 within Los Angeles. Over a dozen unsolved murders occurred, including the death of Short, which involved sexual mutilation of young, attractive women. And so they said that could be possibly linked to that. And I got a bunch of info on that, but I'm not going to go over that because we can do that on its own little episode.
Dude, yeah, I scrambled through a lot of Hodell's things because I should have wrote it down. I've been drinking. So I apologize to anybody listening. But I think that his background itself is creepy enough for a fucking little segment in a podcast.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to do a deep dive.
Highly likely. There's a big correlation between a lot of
he's got the training
sexual crime and serial killer aspects,
and he's got like on a genius level to where like it just is his obsession with like art of trying to find like hidden meanings and shit. It was quite possibly the way he fucking feels with like the like female anatomy, because his obsession with the Man Ray and his fucking whole philosophy that, you know, women's bodies are only meant for art, pretty much, or like they're only here to be fucking subjects of art. So he probably took that to a whole nother meaning. Like, well, let's see how artistic we can get with it.
I liked
like somebody piquing his curiosity in the human anatomy and shit by fucking seeing the way he can like contort a body and fucking twist it to his own fucking weird whim and his own art form.
George Hodel, he's my favorite for the murder, but the other one, I forgot his name. I just closed out of my notes, but I think it's the other George, the one with the daughter that he said that accompanied, like, she accompanied him on the dropping of the body. That one's kind of interesting too, but I think Hodel holds up more. I feel like he probably had his hand in, like what Joseph was saying, like, because he was a STD doctor, so he probably had his hand like in some pockets of the police department, and maybe that's why some evidence was mishandled, you know, and destroyed in transit, however that happens. And
I also just think it's
just the way that he, like, cause I didn't know his IQ level until Joseph was just telling me, because I didn't do a deep dive on him, but his IQ level is so high, and he was just like, he just seems like a fucking weirdo.
Oh, dude, this is one of his paintings. That's at Man Ray. So he's a visual artist, whatever, and he was like one of God damn it! How do you flip the fucking camera on this? I guess Casey can't see it, huh? What the fuck?
Just turn your phone, man.
I'll turn back in.
So this is one of the paintings. Man Ray's influential art beyond the iconic surrealist, like the lips, just like weird fucking shit. Let me see if I can find. Oh, there's some pictures that actually fucking like resemble like the Black Dahlia shit, but it's just like weird, just images of women, because he believed that's their whole purpose. They think they were in fucking like, that's the fucking thing. Oh,
Pan over to the right.
Oh, to the right.
Yeah, go down. The one right there, the bottom right corner picture.
That looks exactly like her, doesn't it? I thought
it was her.
Bottom. Yeah. It's called the glass tears.
A little bit different of a facial structure, but yeah.
Yeah, but very fucking similar. He's got another one where it's and his name's fucking Man Ray, like the fucking villain in fucking SpongeBob. But the Minotaur picture, that's the fucking trippy one. If I can fucking find it.
Beast
I think
is
it's
that Minotaur?
This guy also, like, just mostly because when he went to the Philippines, there's bodies popped up in the Philippines.
I think that's the picture of the fucking the Minotaur thing. It's just the arms, the way they found her body. I think that's it.
That looks like it.
Yeah, the way they found her body, her arms were strung up like that. And that's what people are like comparing it to, but I don't know what that's all about. I think that's the fucking the way they had the arms up, everything. His art is very fucking creepy looking, but that's the shit that Hodel was fucking into. It was all this women shit. I mean, thinking it from that fucking perspective, it just makes it creepier because he was really into fucking art. And the house that he picked too, George Hodel picked that place because it was like ominous, creepy, the whatever, and he liked shit like that because it gave people a bad fucking vibe, the energy to it. And he was into shit like that. He liked the ominous fucking feeling of things, all that. So like, he just seemed like a fucking psychopath. But yeah, the fact that he chose, the torso of the man-raised Minotaur is actually made up of the torso of a nude woman's body. So it's like the top half of a fucking whatever.
Yeah, we saw the picture.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just the fact that it was like it's made up of the top half of a woman's body, like just like an actual art.
Yeah, it looked very, very like the angle of the arms and everything was like
the exact same fucking way. That's that's when I seen that shit, I was like, holy shit! It's like this motherfucker did it. Like they base all of his shit off of like man raised fucking like artwork and shit because he was obsessed with his style of shit.
Yeah.
And it would make sense. And it's not the only. There's another fucking body that I can't remember. Oh, I did say it. Never mind. It had the initials of the Black Dahlia. I just can't remember the details of it. BD. I should have wrote the shit down. But yeah, this shit's fucking creepy. And that's why I definitely peg fucking George Hodel for that.
Yep, definitely. He's my number one suspect. And
but
you could do like deep dives into this too. This whole podcast is dedicated just for the Black Dahlia. And
oh yeah.
So I mean, there's so much information on it. Like this episode, we've recorded 2.5 hours, and there's probably so much more we can go into about it and everything.
Yeah.
I apologize for my spotty memory of shit that I just looked at fucking 3 hours ago. 4 hours ago.
I'm surprised that there's not more like stuff. There's probably a lot of people that think Hodel did it. Probably whole fucking podcast and shit like that about that. But like one of the ways that they fucking caught on to fucking Ted Bundy was because they linked murders in multiple places that he was at with the same MO.
Yeah, see, and that's, I mean, yeah. They matched, like, handwriting to this guy. Or are they saying it was, like, almost identical?
Well, they said there was a word that matched exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah, and so...
and that was with the lipstick murders.
No. Oh, is it the lipstick? Oh, is that the... Okay, so that's what... Okay, that's what... Yeah, sorry. Woo. Try to switch down to the Cobras and give me the brain scrambled. Yeah.
So this is definitely very interesting to look into because I've known about the Black Dahlia, but I never actually deep dived into it. So it was kind of cool going down that rabbit hole. Sucks for that lady.
Yeah, I've heard of Black Dahlia, but I never heard anything about suspects. Like I just knew about her case because actually, you know what? I think I only knew about that when I looked at the Glasgow smile. The first thing that popped up was her fucking face. I'm like, what the fuck? The Glasgow smile. I think so. I don't even know. I've known that. I think I've known about her as long as I've known about Sons of Anarchy because that's what fucking delved me into that, was trying to figure out if that was makeup added on to make him look more fucking.
Oh no,
yeah, and it was really his face. But then there was that, and then a YouTube link to the Black Dahlia, and I'm like, the fuck is a Black Dahlia? That's like, I mean, I knew about her for like years, not like fucking years and years, but she's like one of the first things that pop up other than the Joker. And
yeah,
dude, that's insane though. I'm hoping fucking somehow, because from what I read, the case is still technically open, though it's not fucking really fucking deep like nobody's fucking working the case like that, but it's still, the case is still technically open. Like it's not like a closed fucking case. So I guess I don't know if you can really close a case without knowing. I don't know how that works. But I mean, I'm hoping fucking we'll figure out who it is in our lifetime somehow. I don't know how.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. Maybe someone's like, some fucking, like, my grandma actually sucked a dude's dick on that road. Get a fucking sample of the semen, and I keep all my semen in tiny pill bottles. She kept it under her tongue this whole time. Yeah, like that fucking freak from SpongeBob with the pickles. They lift her tongue up. And
oh my god.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I sucked his dick, passed out. Woke up, and a lady was like, my God, who left a mannequin? And I was like, a man was in my mouth.